What's going on, Eric? What's going on, guys? Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to Sports Hour. This is going to be episode 1 for the new season, or I guess it's like the 4th episode. This is going to be a very close. We're 2 weeks away, approximately. So a little bit more than 2 weeks. We have, let's see. The 30th is the first for the first day for the draft. And it's going to be a very interesting year. We got some changes that have occurred before it. Nothing changed the draft itself, but it's going to be very interesting. First off, I want to talk about each division and see how it makes sense. NBL North all these names look really the same. There was one major change that happened, and it is the Huskies. Westville changed their name to the Huskies starting this season. They were supposed to change it to next season, but they have decided to go ahead and say, hey, you know what, we'll change it this year. So Huskies will be it. And if you go here, you will see that Huskies is now the name of their team. Doesn't change much about this, but yes. Each team still has very good. There's still a pretty good amount for divisions, and you can see in every one of these things. When I will actually make sure these are uploaded to this video, that everything that says for the Huskies is actually saying Huskies are still going to be a very new team, or a very young team, along with everyone else. So this is going to be a one of the things. I have now put another thing together that is going to show you the roster for every team. Let me go back to the beginning here just to get guys. If you want to see who's active, who's not active, to help you make your predictions, you can do that. These will be active and inactive. There'll be 3 things they'll say. Either it'll say active, and I'm only doing this to students. Out, that person will not be playing if they are in that. And then questionable. The reason now, if it happens to be questionable, that means it hasn't been decided yet. It will be decided. It will be either active or out at the beginning of. I did not spell questionable right. Yes. So if it says say questionable, it means it will be it. It's unlikely any of these teams are ever going to get questionable. It's either going to be active or not active. If they're active, they're in. If they're not active, they're out. That's one. Also, every one of these will show you the amount of points that each player scored during the league. And some of them do have a little more than the actual amount, but this will tell you the total points that team scored as well. The roster is still available for you guys to see. If you guys want to take over a team, you can send an email to NBL. Make sure I have the right name here. Yeah. I don't think I have anything of it. No one's actually done it yet, but you can send an email to nblsportshour@gmail.com and say, hey, I want to get this team or whatever it is for that. You're going to be able to do it for the entire season. I'm going to allow it the entire season. The thing is, if you don't do it before before Christmas, then I'm going to assume and have to make sure that I will say that you just can't do it. You just can't be the person that's in charge of the draft. I have the ideas about how everyone's going to be drafting, I don't know who's going to be drafting who at this point in time, but that's the idea. You also see on this list here, this will show you the division, the games behind. So if a team is behind it, and later in the season you'll see things like the first in here. This will show you all the players that are in the playoffs, which are currently 8. There is a possibility there will be 9 players, 9 teams in the events. This is still unsure. If we don't know for sure about that. So if they're eliminated or on the block means that they are still can make the playoffs, but they're not in the playoffs currently. And that will start in week 1. Assuming that the playoffs even happen. Now, officially, this is the one thing I was going to say. It's kind of weird. If there is possibility that if a team happens to win the first 10 games and no one else wins, or not enough wins, or doesn't win enough to get 6 points behind, more than 6 points behind, they will be eliminated. You get the idea. That's the idea. Also, you'll see here. I need to eliminate that. I believe I've eliminated all these, but if you want to take a prediction, make predictions here, I'm going to add your name to this list. These are currently the players that are in there. Your player will move up as well, and the person that has the highest ranking. These are all players that are currently in. 2 of these 3 names here are all irrelevant. They're kind of not computers, but they don't matter today. It's the same thing with John Lilly. So these players are all currently in. My name here is here. And that gives you the idea. You can make your predictions as well for each week. And if you make your predictions here, your name will be put onto this list. I actually need to it needs to be sent in below the YouTube video of the week, which will be it. And there will be, and the videos will be coming out Wednesday, which is going to be Wednesday before the games occur. And I'll have a little video about all the predictions, who's in the best place positions and all that. These are all the games, and the games are all in the same order. Just to show you that they're all in the same order. And then away and home don't make much of a difference, but they do have points off of this. All the way up to week 16. I will figure this out. Because all these say is divide by 0. It's not possible for it to be divided by 0 right now. But here's the idea. The predictions are going to be a little bit interesting for the teams this year because, yes, I'm going to talk real quickly about each of the teams going into this year because and I did this in another video as well. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams work. I'll basically change that. These once they get into the possibility of doing it. And your percentage will be put there as well. I'm just going to go ahead and give you as an example, I think. I'll have to update, I think. Let's just say that you go 6 and 10. See, it's not going to be there. But you'll get something here that says equal to not the average. You'll have this one equals this one divided by these two. That clearly is not a value because I have to put these together, I think. Actually, what's going to happen, I think, because there's going to be 16 games, actually I think it's actually 20 games. Let's say you go 10 and 10. You go equals this divided by 20. And that's what I'll put in there. And I'll show you. So if you get 20 right, it'll give you 0.1. If you get 19 right, and then 1 wrong, this won't show. It will not show you the ones you get wrong. But that's the idea for these games. And I'll give you the predictions here. All of our predictions, the whole group of people, will be up there. Yes. Alright, so let me get to playoff records. As you can see, all these playoffs are in predictions. You can see everyone's wins and losses through their league. The amount of times they've played, and the amount of times they've won, the amount of times they've lost, and then they ties. Ties will be much more difficult because we did change the outcome of this. Instead of ties occurring, it's 5 possessions for each team. And after the 5 possessions, then I just think it's 6. Then it becomes a tie if they're both at the same score still. If they don't have the same score, then it goes back to being it. I talked about this more in another video. Best idea. If you want now, if you want to take over a team game, the draft itself. I need to go to a different thing sheet for this, I think. That's not going to be it. That's not either. Let's see if you go to... and you'll get to be able to access all these because of that. It's labeled under the 2018 draft, I think. No, it's not. It's got to be the current one. 21 maybe? That's already is. I'm trying to find out the right one because there is several here, and I will have the right ones. Draft. Let's see. I think it is this one. So you can go through on it. If you do could take from a team, this is where you want to go for this. And you will also see some players. This means it's not finalized, and this is just saying the players that are currently possibly going into another next year's draft. Got a long ways to go from that, and I got to put a lot of players in for that one. So that's not. It's not really. This one will probably actually be hidden once I finish it. It will be, I think there's like, what do you say, it's like 300? And my like there's 1,000 players, so I really got that wrong. So that's the idea here. And then you can see if you go back to the draft order, these are the only two that you really need to pay attention to. These don't matter. This shows you who's in all their picks and all their players for this year's draft. And here's the order for the next couple years. Trade block is still open. It's open until the start of the second week. So that Wednesday will be the last days available. And you can see 2024, 2025, and then 2026. They will be more updated later. And to show you, if you have looked at these and they say this first, second, third, fourth, that's their current pick. They get that pick. If there's been a trade that occurred, some of these trades have occurred, then you're gonna see an extra picks, and they have their blank first, their blank second, their blank first, just to give you an idea. So we're gonna get now into the big picture stuff because this is gonna be interesting. I made my predictions before about these but I feel like moving back. I'm gonna go and close that. You don't need that anymore. You don't see that anymore. I made a prediction on everyone's teams, and that will be reviewed again at the end of the season. I think it's this one right here. And you can go, this one will also be available. You can see everyone's. You can see the schedule for the next 2 years. It won't be changed. You won't see the rating, but the toughest game because that hasn't been finalized yet. It goes off the previous year, and this is not probably relevant either, but just to give you an idea. So now we get to the big question: who is going to do the best this year? Who is not going to do well? And this is not the right one still. I'm looking at the wrong one still. It's Sports Hour. It's this one. So you'll see, if you go to, I'll give you this one as well. Everyone's predicted record, which is a P division, or P div, then that is a predicted division record. And then their predicted record is 10-6. I've already given you guys prediction of this, and you can see who I predict to make the playoffs and who I don't predict. The first seed automatically makes it in. So that's prediction. That's just to show you if you go for each one of these. And the bold ones are divisional games. You can go back and look. You can look at each one of these. Then their ranking. If you want to take control of a team, then you can go ahead. Currently, there is no one that's in a team. Currently, I control all of it, all of the teams, with the exception of the Otters, which Runner control, which is a private thing for it. I control the Panthers as of right now. If you decide you want to do it, you'll also be put on this one. You can be put on this list if you want to, and say, hey, I want to play in the minutes. You can make your predictions, and then you can put your predictions for those things as well. That one's not. I'm not finalizing this yet, so I don't know whether I'm actually going to do this or not. This should just show you. This is going to be for sure, but this one might not be. This will show you how many times you get, how many points you get, and where your ranking position is. So if you are correct, you will get more points for every game you get correct. Every game you don't get correct, you won't get a point for. If it's a tie, which is unlikely to happen, then you're gonna get a point for it as well, even if you do happen to lose. That is pretty much it for this video. You can see on this, I'm gonna put all of these things onto the draft, below this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And there will be, hopefully, as I said, starting, I would say, the 27th, not 27th, starting every Wednesday, there should be a video about the NBL, about what happened in the previous week and what happens in the next week. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to keep your game on. 2 weeks before the draft, and it will be live. That is live on the 30th, 31st, 1st, and 2nd. It may not happen on the 2nd. It will occur for sure on the 30th, 31st, and 1st. Second may not happen. It may not happen on the 2nd. It will happen there because it depends. Because later it'll be a little bit easier and a little bit quicker for this. Yes. But that will be all for that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And welcome back to Sports Hour.